Ladies and gentlemen, you might not know this, but CastBrew Coffee is the #1 coffee in the world. That's right, you can get the prime time grind double caffeinated coffee. But let me tell you something, you can drink it all day long and it's gonna, quench your thirst, make you feel great, give you that energy that you need, but there's a lot of hidden uses with coffee that you did not know about. One of the uses is coffee is one of the best facial exfoliators in the entire world. Let me show you. Dip a little water, get the water on your face, get the water in your face, and then you just go like that. And you just exfoliate. Look how good this is. There's nothing better for your skin. But there's some other uses that you might not know about. Like this. You can use it to brush your teeth. And if all that fails, it's a great laxative.
My grind so refined, I got no time for no games. Ask yourself why would I make time for you lames? At all costs, cause I'm a boss. I'll break them off, yeah, gotta break them off.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Prime Time with Alex Stein. I'm your host, Alejandro Stein, and tonight we're brought to you by CastBrew Coffee. Make sure to go to CastBrew.com, use the code PRIMETIME for 10% off. But I want to start off with a complaint. Jimmy, why didn't you add the fart sounds?
The export cut off. I'm sorry.
I know, but why not add an earlier fart sound? Why are you wearing that stupid hat? If you mess up, take off the hat. You can't be cool and funny if you mess up. I mean, how hard is it to add a fart? I mean,
I did add a fart sound. It got cut
why
off.
didn't I hear the fart sound?
Because the
if you
export
added
messed
a
up.
fart sound, why didn't I hear a fart sound?
I messed up the export
Tim
somehow.
Pool is a very important client of ours. He's not just a friend of mine. He is a client, a business client.
How about this? We'll tweet it out after the full video.
Well, no, and don't tweet out that one. Re-edit it and add more farts. Do you understand me? I want a minimum of 4 farts. I'm dead serious.
I did. The original one had 3, I believe. I'll make sure there's a 4th.
Add another fart.
Got it. I'll do it.
I'm so pissed off at you, Jimmy, and I'm extra pissed off. That's why I brought your freaking only successful family member, besides your parents. They were pretty successful in their own right, but the other spawn of your parents, Joe VT Fishing. Welcome to the show.
You know, that sounded a lot like growing up at home. Jimmy just getting yelled at all the time.
Did he get yelled at a lot?
Oh, so much.
He's a terrible person. I bet he was a horrible kid.
Yeah, man, it was tough. But it showed me. Sometimes the best example is the wrong example.
And your brother, listen, Joe, I respect you the hell out of you, but your brother, he thinks he's so damn smart because he went to Princeton. How gay is the Ivy League, in your opinion?
The thing is, if you look at the Princeton statistics, 99% of the people that go to Princeton actually end up being graduating. That's the best. It has to be easy if everybody's graduating, right?
Yeah, I know. That's what I said. And then and we got to get into the show, but Jimmy, your brother, he set up this debate. So tonight what we're going to do is we're having a monumental episode brought to you by CastBrew Coffee. Make sure to go to CastBrew.com. Use your promo code PRIMETIME for 10% off. But tonight, your brother thinks he's so smart, and he recently had to debate a guy by the name of Jeran Campanella, who is famous for being on the documentary Beyond the Curve that was on Netflix, a hit documentary. And he accidentally, they say, proved the earth is round. I disagree with that. But my point is, he beat your brother in a debate, Mr. Princeton. Why'd you lose to a debate to Jeran, Jimmy?
Well, I thought we were debating the moon landing, and then you started talking about the firmament and stuff I just didn't really know a lot about.
Is your brother a Christian? Do you believe in God, Joe?
Sure do.
He does, see? Okay, your brother, we actually did a seance with an African voodoo priestess son, and this is true. This is true.
This
Show
is
Joe.
true,
This is true. And we had a bunch of issues, and the TriCaster messed up. We had our YouTube got a strike. Your brother reversed a curse with his Christianity. Thank you, Jimmy.
You're welcome.
Before he did that, he doesn't believe that how Genesis describes the earth as immovable.
Immovable? The earth is immovable?
That's what it says.
That's what it says in Genesis.
Somewhere, yeah.
Does it, though?
I don't know. I think so. Listen, I'm not a Bible scholar, but I just know that they describe the earth as not moving and built on pillars.
You're the religion major. You got to help us out here.
Yeah, they said it's immovable. Okay, now I have to look this up, but we have to start the damn show. So let me get rid of them. Not rid. We love our sponsors, but let me get done with this ad so then we can get into our crazy episode. All right, guys, it's 2024, and the time is now to start taking care of your liver. Why, you ask? Because the latest data from the American Heart Association indicates that adults with a fatty liver were 3.5 times more likely to have heart failure than those without. The American Liver Foundation says that over 100 million Americans actually have a fatty liver right now, which means many people are at risk. We throw literally everything in our livers: cholesterol, alcohol, toxins, Tylenol, statins, cigarettes, you name it, we throw it at it. That's why so many of us have a sluggish fatty liver that makes us gain weight and lose energy. For decades now, your liver has helped you with over 500 key functions every single day, and the time is now that you start helping your liver. We have a solution. It's called Liver Health Formula. It's an all-natural supplement which contains 11 clinically proven botanicals that help recharge and protect your liver. So if you're looking to ignite your fat-burning metabolism, boost your energy, and transform how you look and feel, try Liver Health Formula today. And when you do, you receive a free bottle of blood sugar formula to help you reduce those sugar cravings when you order today. So try Liver Health Formula by going to getliverhelp.com/Alex and claim your free bonus gift. Again, that's getliverhelp.com/Alex. Make sure to use that code Alex to get that free gift so you're not craving all those sweets. Because I know I'm craving a little macaroni and cheese. That's why I take it, because I'm eating macaroni and cheese all day long. You like macaroni and cheese, Joe?
Oh, yeah. Look at my body and tell me I don't like macaroni and cheese.
We're built kind of similar. All right, well, so let's get into the show. Your brother lost a debate against a flat earther, and I thought your brother would be into flat earth because like he was all into Jesus and all this stuff. And so what I think is, I think they lie to us. Like they lie to us and tell us that we evolved from pond scum. Your brother believes we evolved from pond scum.
Do you?
I don't think I really said it like that.
I don't
think
we evolved. We evolved from one person, from one thing. Like I believe in microevolution, like a bird can get longer beaks. You know, people have tall kids.
Oh yeah,
that's obviously provable.
That makes sense.
But to think that abiogenesis, one cell just split, and then I was a monkey at one point, I don't know if I believe that.
I actually believe you were a monkey in a past life.
That is abiogenesis. That is how it went.
Oh.
The primordial soup. Yes, we came out of water. You didn't know that?
I don't.
The fish got the feet. You never seen that?
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah. That's
where we came from, bro.
Oh, okay. I believe
dinosaurs, all that shit.
Yeah, I believe that. Yeah.
The fish grew feet.
Sure.
And then a penis, because they went from eggs to a penis.
Yeah, definitely.
I wish I could grow a penis.
Sorry for laughing.
After the fire, I injured my genitals in a fire when I was young.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen pictures.
I was rescuing.
Yeah, I had to pay a lot to get through that paywall, though. So.
Oh yeah, I know. My OnlyFans. Go to it, guys. The way you get to my OnlyFans, you go to CastBrew.com. You use that promo code PrimeTime, and you get 10% off all the OnlyFans. No, seriously, guys. Before we start the debate, go and buy some coffee. Use that code. It's delicious. I'm on it right now, and I'm fired up. It's twice the caffeination legal limit. It's actually illegal in some states, but guess what? We're gonna sell it to you anyway because we don't give a crap.
Folks, you know the Adderall shortage.
Yeah, we got it.
Coffee. That's why.
We got it. We can't say there's actually Adderall in it for legal reasons, but basically it's better, stronger, faster. Crystal methamphetamine style life, right?
Yeah, just don't smoke it.
Well, you can. If you want, you can. We're not going to tell you what to do with it. We just want you to buy it. Once you buy it, you can stuff it up your keister. I don't give a damn. Use it as a facial scrub. You saw me do that. You choose what you want to do with it. But let me tell you something. It has a lot more uses than just drinking it. I promise you that. We're going to show you all those uses during our sponsorship with CastBrew Coffee. All right, now we get into what you all been waiting for. Tonight, we have Matthew Lohmeier, a commander of Space Force, right? Lieutenant commander?
He's a former lieutenant colonel.
Lieutenant colonel, excuse me, in the Space Force. And we have Jeran from Beyond the Curve documentary.
Unfortunately, we're still waiting for Matt. I sent him the email to get on a little earlier. I don't think he got it, so he's probably...
It's so funny. You messed up once again.
I know. I'm on a roll of messing up. But I know he's coming on because he's been liking and tweeting. He
has been retweeting.
Yeah, so I know he's really excited. He's just on the original plan, so he should be on in the next minute or so.
So hopefully. I should just eat this macaroni and cheese and just chill out?
I think you should. I mean, you can just... I mean, we have Jeran on if you just want to say, like, what's up to him.
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
All right, welcome on. Jeran! The number one fighter in the world.
Win? Can I get an automatic win since he's not here?
That's what I'm saying, a forfeit. If he's not here in the next 6 minutes, that's an automatic forfeit. Do you understand that, Jimmy?
I understand. Well, then the Earth is flat.
Then the Earth is flat. Okay, so Jeran, Listen, I'm not kidding when I say this. Obviously, you and I, we agree on a lot of crazy stuff. People think we're crazy. But tonight, do you actually think that you can freaking convince this guy a little bit or make him question the reality in which you live in before we start this debate? Do you think you really can? Or do you think he's already stuck in his mindset?
No, he's stuck.
Yes.
He's stuck. I'll talk about it in my opening, but there's some people that are, the indoctrinated ones, the educated ones, they're just too stuck. If you think we went to the moon, you're not going to get flat Earth.
Okay, well, before we get into all that, look, we got Joe VT, Jimmy's brother. Look at this guy, dude. And I think his grandfather, so your grandfather supposedly stuck his finger up Neil Armstrong's butt before he went to space?
Right.
That sounds right. Is that right, Jimmy?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the specific medical procedures, but
Yeah,
he
it
was Neil Armstrong's doctor.
I'm sure that was, I don't know. I'm not
Was
going
he his doctor?
Yeah.
Then he definitely stuck his finger up his ass. Okay, so.
Because that means that, yeah.
That means your grandfather's
You're
gay.
right.
You know, your brother was the most successful gay conversion therapy participant that Mike Pence has ever had.
I hear that every single week on the show. And that's crazy. I didn't know that until this show happened, so.
Well, Jeran, do you think you can convince Joe VT? Because he's on boats. What about this? You ever seen a boat when it disappears? It always disappears from the bottom up, right?
You're correct.
But if you get a camera with a long lens on it, you can actually zoom back in and see the boat again, which doesn't make sense because theoretically, if it was behind a curve, behind water, you would just be able to see water when you zoomed in. Did you know that?
Yeah, but, I'm fishing the Gulf of Mexico, and a lot of these rigs, you can start seeing rigs from 16 miles away.
That's what I'm saying. So that proves if you can see it from 60 miles away, doesn't
But
that...
you can only see, like, the top half because of the curvature of the rig.
Yeah, I don't know. Look at this, Jeran. He's already says he can see stuff from too far away, and now he's like, oh, there's this imaginary curve all of a sudden.
We can get him. We can convince him.
We're going to convince Joe VT, and he
dumb enough. I want the
drinks
Tennessee,
and he
not
dips
Princeton.
a little bit. Yeah, he was a football coach, so he probably has CTE, so we can probably convince him.
I don't have CTE. I didn't play. I'm too fat and white to play football at Tennessee.
Your brother's white. He's not fat.
He didn't play either.
You probably have CTE for
Wow.
I probably
You
have
ever
CTE.
fallen on a boat? You ever hit the water really hard jumping in?
No, I do get knocked in the head every once in a
Yeah,
while.
you have CTE. All right, good. Proven. Your brother has CTE and Jimmy has autism. All right. So is the Space Force ready? All right, now get Joe VT off my screen. We welcome on the Lieutenant Commander of Space Force, Matt Lohmeier, with his globes that we're going to smash. Matt, welcome to the show. How are you doing, Mr. Space Force?
Doing great. Happy to be here.
Looks like you're ready to go. All right, fellas, this is how it's going to start. We're going to each of you is going to have 3 to 5 minutes to make a little opening statement of why your argument is correct. Obviously, Matt, you believe that we live on the spinning globe. Jeran, you believe that we live on the flat Earth. So we're going to let you guys go first. Does either person want to go first? Maybe Jeran, you should go first because I guess yours is the more insane side, I guess, technically. Yours is, you know what I mean. You know why. All right, so we'll have Jeran. He's going to start off with 3 to 5 minutes, and you're going to have 3 to 5 minutes, Matt. And then after that, we're going to go for about 20 minutes, just kind of a conversation. And then the last, 5-10 minutes, we're going to let the audience ask some questions. How does that sound, fellas?
We'll read $20 super chat questions.
Oh yeah, and if you want to ask a question, it has to be a $20 super chat, and we're going to read those, and we'll ask Matt or Jeran what their answer is. Okay, starting with Jeran. Are you ready? I can see you got your OBS already set up.
I think I'm ready, yes.
Okay, maybe turn up his mic a little bit, Chris, engineer. I feel like Jeran's mic's a little low always because he has that nice setup. But
Nice try, Globers.
yes.
All right.
Look at all those globes. Matt's ready. Look at all that globe live. All right, now, Jeran, the clock starts. It's at ready. Your time starts now.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, flat Earth is not for everyone because some people like being lied to. They like being told what's true. They like being told how to act, how to feel. And those who actually look into this topic will reach the obvious conclusion that we've been lied to. We were all taught to hate flat Earth. It's taught to you so that you stay away from this subject. Well, despite that ridicule and hate, the slander you might receive, many of us just don't care. And these are the people who think for themselves. Those who don't follow directions, these are the type of people that were not rewarded in school. No, only those easily indoctrinated were promoted and advanced until they got their astrophysics degree without ever going to space. They just simply memorized some textbooks and, in my opinion, became well-versed in the lie. Now, my opponent tonight is a former Space Force captain. He's never been to space. He played space on a computer console, I guess. Same with the other 16,000 Space Force enlisted servicemen. They've never been to space. They're not going to space. But space is just a pretend magical place where Earth can fly 1.2 million miles per hour and as we speak through a vacuum, but we all know that Earth is stationary. We feel it every day. Now, to reach the truth of the flat Earth can be easier. It can be hard. You can either approach it with an open mind and the truth becomes apparent, or you can approach it thinking you already know the answer, in which case you're going to easily fall for the tricks and then walk away, still believing in what men tell you. These great scientists have convinced you and others that they can actually polish up some mirrors and place them in a tube and magically see back in time, and everybody believes them. The same guys who say that there is no God and that nothing exploded and created everything and we're from an amoeba, they can even date rocks. So if they lie to you about things that we can touch and verify, to believe that they tell you the truth about a place you'll never go, even the Space Force commander, captain will never go, is ludicrous. My opponent may ask tonight, why the lie? And I'll tell you, well, number one thing is I can't really tell you because I don't know the motive. I'm not the one lying to you. But I can give you an idea, and that would be three things: control, to hide God, and money. So the control, obviously, every country that's ever felt tyranny, the citizens have moved away. They've gone away. They've gone somewhere else to where they could start a new place. Well, when they put the globe into play, now there's nowhere else to go. So what a brilliant trick to keep us all thinking there is nowhere else to discover. And to hide God, science, as we've been taught, Big Bang, evolution, neutron stars, is an attempt to destroy the idea of a creator. When we look around, things are obviously had a designer, and science wants you to believe that they're the smartest in the land so that they can keep the other. All right. And so let me press play here.
You're at about 3 minutes. You still got 2 minutes. Go ahead.
Sure. The last one is going to be the money. So why the money, or where does the money come from? Let me tell you this. The movie industry across the world, that includes box office, Hollywood, home box office, DVDs, Blu-rays, you name it. The total on that's $90 billion per year. The music industry, CDs, downloads, Spotify, you name it, iTunes, streaming, Pandora, $27 billion a year. And the video game industry is $217 billion a year. That includes console, Xbox, PlayStation, PC, apps, you name it. So these are three pretty big industries, right? So combined, they come up to $334 billion. So what do you think space industry's at? Well, it must be less than that, right? I mean, no. The answer is it's at $546 billion. That's over $200 billion more than the combination of movies, music, and the video game industry. That's big bucks, and they're not letting it go anywhere. And as to the question of the shape of the Earth, oh, and by the way, you could add the MLB, NFL, and NBA, and you'd still be way low. That's only going to add another about 40 billion. So think of how big the space industry is. So I'm not surprised that a captain of the Space Force would come here and debate that, because they got to keep this lie going. Now, they're not letting it go anywhere. All right. As to the question of the shape of the Earth, one thing my opponent this evening may ask me to do, and over again, it's always asked by these Globers, is how something works on the flat Earth. They think that that has something to do with the debate. Falsification is independent of replacement. Let me give you an example. If I'm running through my parents' drawers and I find an adoption certificate, dated my date of birth, signed by my parents and doctor, and it claims I was adopted on that day, well, that's pretty good evidence that I was adopted, right? So if I tell you, hey, look, I'm adopted, my whole life has been a lie, my sister's not my sister, my parents aren't my parents, here's what globe believers do. Nah, those are your real parents. They raised you. And I said, yeah, but they're my adopted parents because the paper says so, that I'm adopted, right? And then you would say to me, well, who's your real parents then? And I'd say, I don't know. And you would say, well, then until you tell me who your real parents are, then I'm not going to believe that those aren't your parents. That's ridiculous, right? And then if I said, well, I don't know, well, who's your real sister then? Well, I don't know who my real sister is, bro. I just found out I was lied to. So the same thing is true with the globe. I cannot be required to know everything about the flat Earth simply because I pointed out that you believe in a lie. So that's basically it. Should be a fun little debate. I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, space is made in a Hollywood basement. That's for sure.
Red Hot Chili Peppers said that. Yeah, that's your 5 minutes, Jeran. Great.
Thank you. Done. Good.
That was pretty thorough, but now Matt, he talked a lot about money, talked a lot about power and control. Now we're going to leave it up to Matt. You have 3 minutes, however long you want to pontificate for, about why the Earth is round.
I'm all about money. I'm all about power. I've worn my bona fides so I can point out my space wings, my pilot wings. Colonel, by the way, not captain. It doesn't really matter.
Oh, I'm the captain.
You know, I want to tell you a story, actually. I'm a whistleblower, and so I was fired from Space Force because I was exposing political lies and manipulation. Alex has asked me to come here tonight because he thinks I'm going to debate with you, but I got to tell you a story. When I was flying F-15s, we went on a deployment from Okinawa, Japan to Thailand hit the tanker 4 times, left Thailand after flying some large force exercises and went west and further west and further west until we got to the edge and there was a large mountain range out there. And I mean, it looked like something out of Game of Thrones, giant ice wall. And we got close enough finally. And I wondered what it was because I thought there'd just be more ocean. And there were signs up everywhere. You've reached the end, turn around and don't talk about what you've seen here. We'd come back into our mission debriefs and they'd say, hey, you saw Antarctica. Don't talk about what you've seen. And so I've, until this moment, always kept that under wraps. And apparently pilots have been seeing that all over the world. No matter which direction they fly, they run into a large icy mountain range, spooky stuff. I don't really know what goes on out in the mountain range, but I'm here to blow the lid off the whole thing and tell you I don't care about money or power. I'm telling you that we're surrounded. Icy mountains, flat earth. Sorry, Alex.
Well, Matt, no, it's funny you say that because General Admiral Byrd, the first person to explore Antarctica, actually said something similar, that he did see ice walls. So, Jared, I'm just saying, you say ice walls. I know you're being a little sarcastic, but Jared,
okay.
Who's General Admiral Byrd again? What is it? What did he say about Antarctica and all this ice stuff?
Just that he found some other land back there, but I mean, he's also a Freemason, so I don't know if I'd really put too much stock in what he had to say.
Okay, that's a good topic. Wait, Jared, that's a good topic. Let's start right there. Now we can go back. That's your opening statement. Even though we're here to talk about the shape of the Earth, it takes people to lie about it. Matt, I'd like to start off by, I guess, asking you a question. I'd like to hear some back and forth. What do you know about Freemasonry? And all of the astronauts that went to the moon were all Freemasons. What do you say about that, Matt?
My grandfather was a Freemason. I'm going to get a little more serious. This isn't the uniform that we wear. I've watched some of Jeran's videos. Jeran, I've watched some of your videos. I think you're sincere. I'm sincere as well. I'm an honest person. You and I have a different worldview. Okay. I think that whatever we get a chance to get into tonight don't I look like a serious person? Look at me.
Jeran's likes to have fun. We can have fun. Jeran's laid back.
Whatever we get into tonight, I mean, we're going to have 15, 20 minutes to talk. I'm happy to show up for 2 hours and have a conversation with you about this. And I want to point out up front, this is a little bit unorthodox. This was advertised as a debate. My globes are almost falling over. I hope that's not a bad omen or a symbol. It's I think that there's some common ground that you and I have, and you're trying to recenter the Earth as a kind of center place, as a part of a cosmology that provides meaning, that reestablishes a God human relationship. And I don't disagree with you on that. And I think the materialist, godless, scientific community does lie. In fact, they practice a science that's very much religious in nature. And so you and I probably have some commonality on things like Big Bang cosmology, which I will challenge any day of the week, in fact. But there are some other sides. And Alex, if you'll give me just 30 more seconds here to give a serious, thank you, thought. Some of the books I've got these globes stacked on. And by the way, I think you're having an impact on the world, because I went to 3 stores looking for these globes before the show, and they don't sell them anymore. So I think you're influencing the globe market.
My work is done.
Mine is all my globe is all written all over, so I didn't bring that globe. Here's my point. I've got Isaac Newton's Principia Mathematica here, written at the end of the 1600s, early 1700s. I actually read this stuff because I'm very interested in cosmology. I'm interested in the science, but it's all incidental to a kind of religious worldview as well. And so I very much appreciate the need to recenter that relationship, and in a very real sense, in a kind of metaphysical, philosophical sense, and in a literal way, the human heart, the Earth, is at the center of all things. The science community can demonstrate, though, the heliocentric model. In my view, I don't think that's up for debate, and so I'm not interested in really debating that much. It's kind of your newer, so to speak, model that is on trial, not the spherical Earth. Isaac Newton says in his Principia Mathematica, I'm not teaching you anything new under the sun. Everything I'm teaching you about celestial mechanics and about this heliocentric model, which we credit to Copernicus and to Johannes Kepler. He said it was known to the ancient Chaldeans 2,000 years before Christ. If you read Johannes Kepler, I've got Kepler's works on my desk here, and I love Kepler. And if you go and read these works, by the way, it's not just the quotes that the scientific community will give you. In fact, these people are like Jesus-loving religious zealots of a sort. I mean, they really were driven by their view that, hey, God is central, and so let's figure out our cosmological worldview. Kepler said the same thing, is my point. He said, hey, I'm just rediscovering what was known in history. I'm telling you that this heliocentric model that Copernicus and I have kind of been recredited with, that was known to the ancient Egyptians and the ancient Chaldeans. The modern scientific world won't tell you that stuff, but it's in their writings. I could point out the page number. And so we have some common ground here, even though we've got a very different model or approach to understanding our cosmology.
Well, no,
How about that for a serious note too?
And Jeran, I want to let you rebut that, but that is true, Matt. The Big Bang Theory, how a lot of what they tell us about science, like that it's a fact. I'm at least you're being intellectually honest. So Jeran, you have to give him that. I respect Matt for that.
Yeah, no.
Now, Jeran, please rebut or say whatever you'd like. I'll give you 2 minutes or 3 minutes.
Did you know about Edwin Hubble? Edwin Hubble's the one that basically
redshift.
brought. Right, which is being refuted, is being torn apart. That's not what's actually going on, because when you have that Doppler shift, it's because in air, when a car's going by you or a siren's going by you, right, the sound compresses and it stretches. But in space, there's nothing to do that to. So they treat it the same way. They treat light like it compresses and stretches, but it doesn't. The speed of light would be the same in space all the time. So I mean, right there is your problem with Edwin Hubble saying that the universe is expanding. And he also said that he had to stay away from the absolute horror of a unique position, meaning that he had to stay away from the Earth being at the center, even though he said it can't be disproven. It can't be shown to be incorrect observationally, but he said, but we have to avoid it at all costs. So that's why they went with the expanding universe, and it's, everything's on a balloon and we're all being blown up. So basically our entire science is just based off of some guys who really didn't want the Earth to be at the center. And observationally, it is in the center. So let me ask you one thing though. You talked about Copernicus. Did you get told the story that Copernicus submitted this book on his deathbed?
No, I've read Copernicus's works. He's a very serious. I don't remember what I was taught about this stuff. I'm autodidactic. I've in my adult life decided to take these topics on and understand the sciences. Now I've spent more time with Kepler and Newton, to be honest, and Copernicus predates them, but he overlaps with Kepler a little bit. Let me address one thing though, Jeran, because you make a good point. And it's that we've arrived at a Big Bang cosmology because of a certain observation for which we had no viable or for which we had no decent alternative explanations at the time that this redshift was observed. And so, hey, it looks like things are speeding. There's a recessional velocity. And so everything's moving apart from each other. It must be the case. Therefore, there had to be a starting point. There must have been a tremendous explosion. And so there's a kind of there's a belief system that went into the standard cosmology of the present day. You're right, that is being challenged. I agree with you in that. I think there are other explanations for that. I think plasma cosmology, plasma physics has a much larger role to play in understanding the universe. I think electromagnetism does, quite frankly. And to your point, you see, there were forces in the ancient world that they didn't have our modern vernacular to describe things for us as a modern person. So they used words like fire or light, for example. We use words like electromagnetism. We had talk about plasma. We have a whole vernacular that would have been unfamiliar to the ancient man. But the bottom line is, we've got emerging paradigms right now that are trying to explain the various anomalies in the standard cosmology that have been so apparent for the past couple of decades. I think that modern physics, especially theoretical physics, it's kind of a garbage bin, frankly. But even the standard cosmological model is on its way out the door, and they sense that. And so there are purveyors of the standard cosmology who are very interested, just like a religious priest is interested, in retaining every argument they can to fill the gaps that are appearing in their model. So they have to invent dark energy. They have to invent dark matter. They invent a Big Bang. All of that's on its way out the door, in fact, and any honest scientist is telling you about that. But I'll tell you that I have a different view. I've watched the Earth from 30,000 miles up, not in the capsule. I was teasing about these space wings that I've got. I mean, I sat in a classroom for 2 months to earn those space wings, and I worked very hard to get them. Unlike what I got my pilot's wings, I was up in the air domain. But, you know, I've talked to astronauts who are on the ISS while they've been on the ISS. We've launched things into space, and I'm happy to get into all of this later. And then I've done an infrared space-based missile warning mission from geosynchronous orbit. And we use orbital mechanics to put those things there. And I can tell you about the speeds of those orbits, that they are quite literal. And I've seen the Earth from those altitudes. And I'll tell you that China, you know, when you get into military, political, geostrategic competition as well, every great space power on the Earth is trying to exploit cislunar space right now because they see it as giving them some ultimate high ground or a grand strategic advantage over their adversaries. And so they're pouring trillions of dollars into those industries because they actually believe, whether or not you agree with them, they actually believe that there's an advantage to be gained by deploying robots, persons, and machinery and manufacturing on orbit.
Wow, Matt. Wait, real quick, Jeran, I want to let you go. Sorry, I just wanted to Matt,
Yeah,
I mean, he's talking about orbital mechanics. I want to get into that. But Matt is admitting that what they say about dark matter, a lot of stuff that you guys actually agree on. It's crazy. So let me let Jeran.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, Jeran, go ahead. Sorry, I just had to say that. There's actually a lot of stuff that Jeran talks about. He agrees that now they kind of have to keep the lie going because it's so much religious. Sorry, Jeran, go ahead.
No, you totally nailed it. I mean, that's a lot of truth there. Now, you do know that they use geocentric coordinates for your so-called orbits of satellites, right? You guys don't use any kind of heliocentric model. It's geocentric, right?
See,
if I was going to in the center.
Yeah, let me address it briefly. I promise I won't take long on this. But if you're okay, in the grand scheme of things, here's my model. All of the orbits in which we operate are like so close to the Earth that unless you're super close to the Earth, you wouldn't be able to differentiate these. There's a swarm of bees flying around in Leo and low Earth orbit at 17,500 miles an hour. There's an architecture there that exists that is so close to the Earth that we take our bearings depending on the orbit, both from the Earth as well as from certain stars, because the satellite occasionally has to regain its bearings, and you need multiple points to do that. It depends on the constellation. This gets very complex, but I'll acknowledge the fact that if I was going to teach my son if I was going to teach him the truth of astronomy, let's say, I wouldn't start by teaching him that the sun is in the middle of all things. In fact, I'd plant his feet on terra firma outside at night, and I'd orient him to the stars based on where he presently is. I teach him about a zenith overhead and the meridian, and I teach him about the apparent motions of the observable universe.
Wow, Jeran. I mean, Matt is, he's very intellectually honest when it comes to space, Matt. I didn't realize you have such a... Now I know why you were so high up in Space Force. You definitely understand space. I
was perpetuating the lie.
Yeah. All right, Jeran, what do you want to say to that?
Let me, well, I'll get to this, but I wanted to ask if you think, is there any possibility that the things that you were putting in space or whatever could be a lie? Meaning you didn't have you weren't touching these things. Somebody far away sent it up into space and you were told it was up there and then you accessed it on a computer, right? So technically, really speaking, it wouldn't be that hard to fake. Or are you saying it would be impossible?
No, I disagree with every bit of that. Sorry. I mean, I've got hands-on before it's been launched, hands-on at launch, watched things go up into space and watched our operators take these things over. And I've watched real-time. I mean, the lie is so grand to be able to do the mission I've done in locked doors with windowless rooms, for a reason, by the way, from ground stations where we get a signal. I mean, there are troops that duck and cover downrange in the Middle East when an Arab country lobs missiles that are 3 minutes away. We pick up a heat signature from geosynchronous orbit. It's relayed to a ground signal on the Earth. Our operators are sit and trained to watch that data, pick up red phones, and make phone calls to battle commanders downrange and say, you've literally got a minute and a half until this missile lands within this vicinity, so duck and cover. And we save lives doing that business. Now, I'll just tell you, it's quite the lie. It really is quite the lie. If every single operator in every spacefaring nation, all the dozens of nations who are currently doing activities in space, from the scientific community to the military community, to the government civilian community, to the private billionaires, it is quite the lie to get people to be absorbed and assimilated into a culture that is so intricately woven a lie that they would then be believing. Like, you've got 99% at least of those people that are in those missions genuinely believing that they're involved in a grand space operation. And so it would be a very difficult thing indeed to explain everything that they experience on a day in and day out basis using your model. I mean, it would be really interesting to see you or someone try and explain that. But, you know, I've got, and this is a lead into another day, like, I've got a list of 35 questions that are not silly questions. Like, I've watched enough of these videos now. There's an upcoming solar eclipse on total solar eclipse on April 8th this year. And like Ptolemy did 2,000 years ago, where he produces the Almagest. And there's a star catalog that predicts every solar and lunar eclipse and the movements of all of the wandering stars over a backdrop of fixed stars for centuries to come. I'd like to understand, maybe you guys address this. Else, you know, I've admittedly not spent time studying your work, but I'd like to understand, for example, how the model that you subscribe to predicts upcoming solar and lunar eclipses and the relative motions of the wandering stars over a backdrop of fixed stars.
Well, one thing I want to say...
and so that's a longer conversation for another day.
That's a much longer conversation, but isn't that... I hear people talk about there's a thing called a prediction or a post-diction. If we know the pattern of the sky, aren't we just... I mean, don't we already know the pattern? Isn't that how they decide it, Matt? I was just answering that. Maybe Jeran knows better than me. But I want to say this. I want to ask a question. Then, Jeran, sorry, I'm going to let you rebut. This is Matt. I always see these videos, and Jeran's posted these videos I saw, where NASA buys the most helium and they put satellites up with balloons. Have you ever seen anything with a balloon in a satellite in your life? A balloon launch with a satellite on it?
That's not my... only videos on YouTube talking about that kind of thing. That's not my area of expertise. I've never dealt with balloons.
I just saw that video. Okay, sorry. Go ahead, Jeran.
Well, the missile warning system, though, that can be done from the ground, right? We have missile warning systems up north that protect the United States from any missiles that come from Russia or anything like that, right? So those are protected without the need of geosynchronous orbit. So, I mean, just because you say we have this missile warning, when has that ever been used? When has it been activated? Could be something that's being done from Thule or Thule. But let me ask you this.
Yeah, I've been to Thule, by the way. It's dark at the winter solstice. I went in December 21st, 48 hours of darkness while I was there. Yeah. But
right, that's
let me point out. Yeah, that's fine. And I'd be interested to hear the explanation for those cosmic or those celestial phenomena. Let me just address the point that you bring up, though, briefly.
Yeah.
Whatever that was. The missile warning system.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, the ground-based architecture for strategic missile warning, think intercontinental ballistic missiles, was established first and followed by the population of a space-based architecture that is used in concert with the ground-based system. And you're right, the ground-based system can do that independent of space. Now, what is it looking for? There's theater warning. Okay, there's theater warning. That means relatively close by on planet Earth. When a neighboring Arab country lobs a missile into Israel, we call that theater warning, and that happens. We do that warning every week. Okay, and then there's strategic missile warning, which is Soviet Union, now Russia, China. Pick your grand competitor. They're lobbing intercontinental ballistic missiles over the poles in our globe Earth model, and we are picking that up by pointing our ground-based radars over that pole in the direction of those northern countries, China and Russia, former Soviet Union. The idea of an ICBM is that it has a burning phase in which it leaves the Earth's atmosphere and goes into space on a particular trajectory, and then it burns out on that trajectory, and there's no way of changing the path of that ballistic projectile or missile. And so it will land where they had launched it to land. Now, there's been quite a bit of development since the Cold War. We've got hypersonic glide vehicles, these kinds of things that skip along the Earth's atmosphere and kind of enter and maneuver wherever they'd like. And that's a different conversation altogether. It's, I mean, beyond the scope of what we're talking about.
So let me ask you this. So
Jeran, say whatever you want to say, but talk about eclipses a little bit, because I know he mentioned it. Well, how do eclipses? What about the impossible eclipse?
They're cyclical, but they're cyclical, right? An eclipse
they are.
They were putting those back in Babylonia, so they have nothing to do with the model. It's not a matter of, oh, it's because we know it's a globe that they can predict those. They predicted them when they thought the Earth was flat. So it's obviously that they're just predicted.
Here's a thought,
What?
though, for your audience, just a teaser, because I've spent enough time with this now to have my own views that are, like you, different than the scientific community. It's my view that as early as 4,000 years ago, enlightened philosophers, prophets, and scientists, I know, again, contrary to popular scientific belief, understood that the sun was at the center of our system. It's my view that throughout human history, recorded human history, the view has been that the Earth is spherical, or is a spheroid. And it's my view. I mean, if you look at the measurements of the Great Pyramid and the Giza Plateau, for example, I think it's evident that the builders of that pyramid, and let's say you even accept the standard Egyptological dating, and let's say it was built about it's finished 2350 BC, 2400 BC. It's my view that whoever built that, and we still wrestle with how they did it, which is another fun conversation, had a working knowledge of the diameter of the Earth, of latitude and longitude lines, and how lengthy in miles in the imperial system degrees were, and the distances to the sun and the moon. And even the shafts that come out of the king's chamber and the queen's chamber are aligned to certain stars 4,000 years ago. I mean, like, they had a working knowledge of the cosmos, but there's a precession. There's a precession of the equinoxes. They had a different pole star back then. Our pole star is different today, Polaris. They had a different Earth that they were in. So
but the shafts are now pointed at Polaris, right? So we're just supposed to believe that 4,000 years ago they were pointed at another. Yeah, they are. They're pointed at Polaris.
No, these things rotate on the order of 1 degree every 72 years because of a precessional equinoctial cycle.
But they tell us today that they're pointed to Polaris, but 4,000 years ago they were pointed at Thuban or something. That's what you have to believe.
Yeah, so Thuban, you're right. You're right. Thuban is the star. Yep.
Right. So, I mean, everything else you were saying is kind of, you said something about the pyramids matching. I mean, that's, if you do any research on that, that's just bunk. There's no.
No.
Have you measured them?
In fact, I have a great interest in this, but that's almost neither here nor there. We can have different views about that. Let me agree with you and say that
it's a great story. It's a great story. The pyramids match our circumference. Like, what were the pyramids built using feet, or just we use?
Yeah, the imperial system is. Their
ancient. Numbers match our. We use feet.
But, here's the point. I think that you and I have some things that really do genuinely require slower, deliberate, methodical conversation.
Yes, we need to make this longer, and hopefully we can set it.
This is part 1 of 7.
Yes, this is part 1. This is part 1 because Matt is very intellectually honest, where he admits that there are some inconsistencies, but he still doesn't agree with you, Jeran. But Matt, you've been talking a lot because obviously you're the most esteemed colleague on this panel, so we definitely want to give you the floor. But I'd like to have Jeran just speak for 2 minutes, where he can say what he want to say. This has been very interesting. I've learned a lot from Matt. Very smart guy.
Very smart, Matt. So, what do you think the reason is that we have, asked science to prove the shape of the Earth, to show it somehow? And so they had Nat Geo did a special where they came out and did the whole thing, but they basically used an optical illusion. They completely lied, said that the boat was behind the curve, but we saw the horizon behind the boat, so it wasn't true. And then you have the Stephen Hawking came out with the Genius program, and we've proven that they inputted a helicopter into the scene. They completely and totally faked their evidence. You have Behind the Curve, who had to lie about my experiment, completely made up. So far, science is 0 for 3, 0 for 4. They're faking the proof. Why don't they just prove it? Why would it be so difficult for them to just prove the shape? Why would you lie? Why would Stephen Hawking input a helicopter into a test and say, look, this helicopter hid behind 6 miles of water, and we've proven that that's been inputted by some sort of camera trick. So it's trick photography. And you can prove that. It's not a question. It's not it could be this, it could be that. No, 100% proven. The other thing is SpaceX did something funny. SpaceX changed their live stream, something nobody else can do on YouTube. Nobody can do a live stream and then change it after the fact and it still be called a live stream. You can't even change your comment on YouTube without it saying edited. But they let SpaceX go in, switch around things, move scenes around, put another box on top of another box, just to correct, I guess, the historical record. But why would all these things be happening in your mind? Why would Stephen Hawking fake an experiment to prove the shape of the Earth? Because I find those things really strange.
I don't know the answer to some of those questions, and I've read 2 of Stephen Hawking's books. I don't really like his work, although I'm not doubting how brilliant he was before all these funny memes started showing up in the last few months.
He's a pervert.
But I'll tell you, you ask a good question that both of us have to reckon with, and more so you than me, and it's why would they lie, right? And I don't know the answer to your question specifically about why they lied in those instances, but here's another question for you. It's that why would the many thousands of eyewitnesses who have, like, I'm telling you, I've seen Earth from space through the lens of the satellites that we put up there, and you're saying, well, you've been manipulated, and I'm just telling you, I don't buy that. And there have been astronauts who, hang on a sec, there have been astronauts who have been in space, and here's another, you can be deeply convicted of something and be wrong. I understand that. I've recycled my own worldview a few times. I've abandoned things that I think were false. This isn't one of those things. I'm not going to tell you or pretend I've been to space. I've not. But I think that the heavens declare the glory of God, more so if you understand them properly. And this is one of the greatest areas of interest in my life for the past 15 years. And so I've studied it deeply. I'm telling you that every ancient mind that's respectable, who's become a classic in Western literature and in Eastern literature, including Arabic wizards that no one on this program has ever heard of, they all had views that the sun was at the center of our local cosmos, that the Earth was orbiting about it as a sphere, like all of the other bodies that are observable. They also believed that from the microcosm to the macrocosm, electromagnetism and gravity conspired to make all things round for some reason. And that's true in biology, chemistry, and in astrophysics. Why, I don't know, but what was it that caused those ancients to buy into the lie of a round Earth if it was so abundantly apparent to them that it was flat? Who was duping them? What global conspiracy was duping the ancients? Who was duping Timaeus in Plato's works and Socrates and Pythagoras?
Supposedly it was that they saw boats go over the curve, supposedly. That's why they thought it was a sphere.
No, that's an overly simplistic.
Hey, but let me, guys, we only have about 10 minutes left. But no, you guys are doing great. I want to let you keep going. But Matt, I see that you do believe in God. Obviously, that's very important to you. And I think Jeran would say part of the space lie is similar to evolution. They want to make you think that you just evolved from nothing, like you said, the Big Bang cosmology. But isn't in Christianity, they describe the firmament, and there's a guy, Werner von Braun, who was the head Nazi scientist, and they brought him over during Operation Paperclip, which I'm sure you're familiar with. And when he died, he was the head of the NASA program. He put on his tombstone Psalm 19:1. And if you're familiar with that, it says, the firmament showeth his handiwork. So I know you're talking about all of this, the way you describe cosmology, but as a Christian, do you not believe in the firmament?
Words matter, definitions matter, and I believe that men can interpret different words in different ways. If there's nothing about the woke cultural revolution that we've been watching over the past few years, it's that people like to define terms as they will. So I'll tell you that Jeran has one view of the firmament, apparently, and I've got a different. It also talks about the four corners of the earth, and I'll tell you that we probably have a different view of what that means, and mine's ancient. And so, these terms have meaning, and it's just a matter of understanding, and here's the nice thing too. I kind of laughed about the idea of debating you on this stuff, Jeran, a little bit, because it's taboo. I don't want to debate about a lot of things.
Taboo.
No, I don't really care about taboo that much. It's but because I don't like, I've seen Alex. He likes to wear thongs and tuck it bathing suits, and I thought, if we can't get any more out than 30 seconds, 1 minute, it's not a worthy dialogue. But to me, this is such a commonsensical reality, and we've got the technology today, unlike the Middle Ages, where we can watch this firsthand, and there's a real beauty in God's handiwork, and that I can appreciate. But what I like about you is that you're interested in reclaiming a God-centered, earth-centered cosmology. And I'll tell you, there's all these maps that show the Earth in the center and then like these planets going around it. And I'd love to use that map to teach my kid astronomy because it helps orient you to the cosmos.
Let me ask you this. So when, what happens if we put gas into a vacuum? If we were to release a canister of gas into vacuum, what happens to that? It goes in every direction, right? Spreads out because there's no pressure there. So it just goes. So no matter how big of a balloon we get, we can keep going bigger and bigger and bigger. We put that balloon up there, it's going to get high enough and it's going to expand out into space. But then we're supposed to believe that stars just do the opposite. There's no evidence of that. No one's ever seen it. We're just told.
Here's a good question. Is our sun a giant gaseous body or is it not? Or is it something like liquid metallic hydrogen?
Yeah, it's probably something like that.
You're bringing up so many good points. I think there are answers to these questions, or at least there are competing viable theories to these questions that I think are worth exploring, that I'm interested in learning about. I'm glad you're interested in learning about them. In fact, frankly, who's paying close enough attention to ask the questions that you and I are? That's a good start. But we've walked different paths here, and we've got a different model. And I'm going to be stubborn and say that. No, I shouldn't say that. I got to keep some of my thoughts to myself. I'm very much convicted in my worldview on this thing.
and that's fair. Okay, guys. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna leave. Jeran, you can have like 2 minutes to end this, and then Matt, if you just want to rebut it, because you've kind of said everything you need to say, Matt. But if you just want to say like,
sorry, we did get one $20 super chat for a question. Scott Hawkins, Matt, please elaborate on your understanding of the four corners of the Earth. Thank you for hosting
that's a good
us.
question. And then to answer that question, then we'll have Jeran do like a 1 minute closure, and then you can rebut him, whatever you want to say, Matt. But yeah, how do you describe the four corners? That's how do you interpret that?
Coming to me first?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me start by, I'm going to be as brief as possible, and this could warrant a long conversation because, as Jeran is aware, especially with all of these YouTube models with a Earth whirling around a sun that's whirling around the center of a galaxy, it's like, who can orient themselves to that? It's impossible to like wrap your mind around the cosmos. With that said, I'm going to say that it's difficult for people to get these concepts into their mind, but the corners of the Earth and any age of the Earth are reckoned by the positions, the positions of the sun over the backdrop of fixed stars. And a lot of your listeners won't even know what I'm talking about. But every month, the sun is traveling through a new house of the zodiac. And I'm not really talking about astrology, okay? I know that astrologists use these terms. This is astronomy stuff. There are equinoxes and solstices. They happen in the spring and the fall, and in the height of summer at the brightest day of the year, and in the dead of winter, December 21st. Those specific 4 points and dates that fall relatively within plus or minus a day each year. The sun will rise in a particular constellation against the backdrop of fixed stars, and they stay in place for relatively 2,000 to 2,200 years. When Abraham walked the earth on the spring equinox, the sun rose in Aries. 2,000 years later, that's the sacrificial lamb. That's when the ram is caught in the thicket for Abraham when he's asked to sacrifice his son. 2,000 years go by. I promise I'll wrap this up in 20 seconds. The sun had finally precessed through the equinoctial cycle to the next sign of Pisces. The fish, the net. Christ shows up. He gathers in these fishers and makes them fishers of men. He feeds the masses with the loaves of fishes. The things in the heavens were bearing witness of that which was taking place on the earth. And it's been a couple thousand years, and so we're transitioning out of Pisces, and we're leaving that and going into the age of Aquarius that they sang songs about a few decades ago that were kind of fun and hippie-ish. And that's occurring now. But those things is what I'm talking about when I talk about the corners of the earth. There are literally 4 corners or points in space and time that are fixed at certain times of the year in the earth's motion around the sun. And that is what defines an age of the earth. And so we've been living in the age of Pisces for the past couple thousand years, and astrologers make their bucks talking all about how that influences your love life.
Well, some of it works. So there's some sort of weird stuff about astrology. I'm a Libra. I think I'm very fair.
You have to pay me to talk about that.
I know, because that's kind of anti-God, right? All right, now, Jeran, last 2 minutes or a minute, however long you want to get. And then, guys, this is great. Now we have great viewership. A lot of people watching. We really need to try to organize maybe a way we can get you both to Dallas and we can do like a 2-hour sit-down, because Matt is very intellectually honest. He believes in God, so he knows that they use science to lie. So really, I really appreciate his opinion more than a lot of these people that worship science. So, Jeran, you have to admit that we like Matt. I mean, I like Matt because of that.
Yeah, totally. I would talk to Matt in the future because I'm open to new evidence. And I've never seen anybody step forward and say, I've seen this from space. And then maybe, I know you don't work for them anymore, but if I could ever have somebody actually show me that. I've never seen anybody actually do parallax distance measurements. I mean, you've never done that. You just take what they say is true, right? As far as distances to the stars. And I mean, trillions of miles is pretty ridiculous to think that we can just see trillions of miles magically through polished mirrors. But yeah, I don't believe that. So I'm open to talking about it. I think that the 4 corners is, if you do like a plus sign, which is north, south, east, west, there's 4 corners inside there. People just think of corners as something different than there's 4 corners inside of a plus sign. So it could be that. And then, talking about the seasons and things like that, you were just talking about, just to bring this up, this is the kind of the model that we go off. This is the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. You can get this on the App Store. And you can see where when the sun goes to the inside track, that's when the north has its summer. And when the sun goes to the outside, that's when the south has its summer. It makes way more sense than the heliocentric model, which actually says that the sun is closer to us in the winter. So they say that the sun is 3 million miles closer to us in the winter, which is crazy. The sun is far away.
What you're saying. I understand what you're saying. And I'm not going to rebut this at all. I'm just going to say I understand what you're saying.
That is a weird one. Good. Okay, Jeran, sorry, the last minute.
Well, it's difficult to conceptualize. That's right.
And I'm interested in talking to you more, because I would love to hear what you mean by you saw the Earth from some sort of satellite, because the satellite's going to have to send down data, right? Not images. It's not sending photographs. It's sending data that has to be processed by a computer and then output to show you. So I would just ask who was doing who did the programming of the computer that processes those images? I'm assuming it's not you. So you are taking data given to you by somebody else and saying, this is a picture of the Earth.
Don't sell me short, Jeran.
Don't sell them short. All right, guys, this has been a great conversation. Jeran, wrap it up, because we got to go. I got to do an ad read before we go. Matt, we're going to talk to you guys again. And I'm telling you, Matt is the best, dude. Matt, thank you. Such an honor and privilege to have you on the show. Go ahead, Jeran.
Yes, very honor and privilege to talk to a Space Force commander. But yeah, give me your information and I'll look you up and maybe we can talk a little bit.
All right, guys.
Sounds
Jeran,
good.
tell them where they can find you, support you.
Jeranism, that's everywhere. It's all over TikTok, YouTube, Rockfin, everywhere. And the Earth is flat and the globe is a storytale. That's about it. What does this say? Believes Earth is flat. All right, just making sure. You got to double check on those.
Yeah, sometimes he puts the N-word down there. All right, now we're just kidding. Matt, all right, Matt, thank you. Tell the people where they can find you and support you before you go.
MatthewLohmeier.com.
Guys, everybody go support Matt. Matt is a badass lieutenant colonel. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Matt. All right, guys, that's been our show, Flat Earth Debate. Joe VT, is the Earth round or flat?
It's probably round, but...
No, it's not round. It's not freaking round. Oh, you think it's round. Let me show you what's freaking not round. This computer monitor is not. Does it look round to you, Joe VT? Does that look round to you? Look at this. It broke the damn golf club.
Smart.
Yeah. Gosh almighty. These damn Dell computers are strong as hell.
It's bulletproof,
All right.
man.
Tell the people where they can find you and support you.
Me?
Yeah.
Little me? Joe
Well,
BT Fishing
do you want
on
to do the
YouTube.
ad read real quick?
For who?
Sarah.
Sarah's show. Listen to me, mother truckers. Sara Gonzales got a new show called Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. If you don't watch the show, I'm going to come to your house and... Well, I can't say that. I'm going to come to your house. I'm going to queef on your roast beef, all right? So if you don't want your roast beef queefed on, go support my favorite person in the world, Sara Gonzales, at Sara Gonzales Unfiltered on YouTube.com. Make sure to like and subscribe. And if you don't, I'm going to get pissed off. I'm going to break this damn monitor. Oh, finally, it breaks. Ah!
Got real glass in it, huh? I didn't know that.
Yeah, no. So it's actually pretty quality stuff. Where can the people find you?
Joe VT Fishing on YouTube or on Instagram.
But don't go to that. Go to Sara Gonzales first, because they're going to know this. Oh, and CastBrew Coffee, mother truckers. We get lit in this bitch. Make make sure to put that a little lower third, Jimmy. Go to CastBrew.com, and you're going to get this coffee. And if you use the code PRIMETIME, make sure to use that code. Tim's going to know I sent you. So support a Pimp on a Blimp. All proceeds that I make are going to a cat charity called Cat Matcher. So we got to make some money, honey, for the cats. Use that code, bitch. PrimeTime, CastBrew.com. Go there right now. All right, guys, we end the show the same way every time.
Well, we gotta do the one thing. Remember, we found the thing about my brother.
Picture of your brother, yeah.
Well, let's show. Like, this is his YouTube channel.
You have some questions that need to be answered.
Okay.
This is your YouTube channel. He gets great views, all about fishing. He caught like a 100-pound marlin or some crap. It looked like a 1,000-pound or whatever. It looked pretty cool. Got nearly 1 million views, but we saw this picture.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Big tuna, right?
Indeed.
Tuna! What the hell is that? Why is your tuna on the air right there, Joe?
All right, I'll go to my brother.
Isn't that old Florida head coach
No,
that
got
fired because he said he was getting death threats?
No, that's actually Jimmy John, right? Or allegedly? Isn't that Jimmy John?
Jimmy
from the
John.
Sandwich Shop?
Yeah.
I heard he's a cool dude.
He is. John lives hiding in that. It's hard to say his last name. All right, guys. So decide: is the Earth flat, round, globe, square, inverted, outverted? I don't know. Transgender? Who the hell knows? But guess what? We're gonna have Jeran and Matt come back on and talk for an extended time. Maybe do that behind the paywall. I don't know what the hell we're gonna do, but that was a great debate. We end the show the same way every time with that freestyle finale. DJ, hit that beat. Joe BT, can't you see your brother is a pussy? I want to fire his candy ass, but he works for weed and gas. He is a bitch on CBD. I don't know why he likes TV. He hates this show. He is a hoe. I can't believe that bitch is your bro. He's got to go. He uses that baby for that clout. Then he likes to make that pussy shout. Ay, 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 till the day I die. JVT and Joe VT. Love bitch mom. We're on TV. All right, guys, I'm a Pimp on a Blimp. I love you. Like and subscribe. Peace and good night.